So my issue today is I have some real concerns about our churches doing a fundraiser, and that's a possibility. Someone is looking into the possibility of getting an OLCC license, so we can have a section for people who want to consume adult beverages. And I'm guessing that this is going to be at our church. And
Wait, I don't understand that. I don't understand. They want to get, the church wants to get a license for serving alcohol. Is that what you're saying?
For fundraising for a particular event, for a missions event.
That's a strange thing for a church to do. I'm not saying it's sinful.
Well,
I'm not saying it's sinful. I just think it's very strange.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was kind of shocked, but the person who was looking into it, she and her husband are really sweet Christians, and they formerly owned a business that included adult beverages. Mm-hmm. And I think they did some brewing and of their, that kind of thing. And it's become pretty much more commonplace for that to be acceptable.
So what can I do for you?
Pardon me?
What can I do for you today, Carla?
Okay, so my question is, I have some points that I wanted to review with you in my objections to, if I'm not taking too much liberty with the scriptures, to back up my
Go ahead. We got a lot of calls and little time, but go ahead and bring those up.
Yeah, just such as, we're called to be set apart from the world. We're called to be a peculiar people. We don't need to be fundraising like the world. We don't wage wars, what is. So being set apart, be a better example to the world, basically. And also to protect the weaker brother. There are obviously those in our church that love does protect and bear all things, and I think that includes, protecting the weaker conscience,
Sure.
as Paul refers to that.
Absolutely.
About eating meat. And then also just that Paul himself deferred his own rights. He did it for fundraising. He deferred. But also just that, all things are lawful for me, but not all things edify. So I'm just wondering if there's something you would change about that or add to that.
No, those would be my thoughts. Those would be my thoughts also. Now, as far as the first argument that we're not supposed to imitate the world, that could cut lots of different ways. I mean, because one could say, well, drinking alcohol isn't simply the world's province. Anybody can drink alcohol, including Christians. So that's not really the world per se. And one could argue even having fundraisers is imitating the world. Jesus never had fundraisers, or even meeting in a church building could be said imitating the world, or having, a corporation for the church. Jesus didn't do that, or the apostles. So there's a lot of ways that the church imitates the world that we have to ask, is it harmless, or is it something we shouldn't be doing? And, to serve food, in a sense, imitates restaurants, even if you don't have alcohol. So I don't know. I'm not sure that I would place too much weight on we shouldn't imitate the world, because someone might come back and say, where do you draw the line? And why is alcohol there? But the other points you made would be a good argument for drawing the line where you are, because we know that lots of people have trouble with alcohol. Lots of Christians think it's wrong to drink alcohol. And even those who may not think it's wrong, they believe it's wrong for them, and they are tempted when they're around alcohol. This alcohol is not like food in that respect. Alcohol is something that food is that way too. Some people are gluttons. Some people, when there's food around, they eat too much, and that's, I guess, a sin too. But I don't know if people are, everyone has to eat. Not everyone has to drink alcohol. So, food is a temptation for some people that, frankly, you just can't avoid it. You got to eat some anyway. No one has to drink any alcohol. I'm not against drinking alcohol, but I do think that a church would be a big mistake for a church to sell or serve alcohol, because it's so controversial among Christians, including probably some in the congregation. I don't see any reason to bring such controversy for the sake of money. If it's a fundraiser, why is money worth stumbling people? And then the point that there are weak people. There's got to be some people in the church who've had a problem with alcohol before, And even if they manage to, not be tempted and they don't imbibe, they're likely to think, why is that here? That's been my nemesis. Why is that here at the church? It will make this church not seem like a safe place to people who are alcoholic. So I think there's good objections you've raised. The first one's not a bad one, but I just think it's a little weak in the sense that people would say, well, wait, where do we draw the line? We're already imitating the world in driving. We drive cars. We meet in a building. There's lots of things we do differently. I mean, we don't do differently than the world. Mm-hmm. And so I would take your second 2 points as worthwhile to bring up.